What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. Hope you guys are having a good Monday night. And if you guys missed out on it earlier, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every weekday, I'm going to be doing a live news show here on the Matt McKeever Unfiltered YouTube channel called Maple Pill. I'm very proud of what I intend to do with it. Again, we're only one episode deep, so it's not like I've really accomplished much yet, but I really do look forward to every single weekday exploring with you guys 5 news stories, sharing my perspective as well as getting your perspective on what's going on in the world, particularly through a Canadian lens. So again, really appreciate those of you that did watch the first episode, those of you that did smash the like button. But anyways, I figured let's just kind of hang out tonight. I still want to do these Monday night Matt McKeever Marijuana Madnesses. And a reminder, in the video description down below, there's actually our mailing address now. So if you guys want to send us anything, whether it's just like a postcard, a note, whatever, my goal is hopefully that, you guys get enough value from these that people will send me a random, hey, how you doing? Write in a question, whatever it happens to be, send a little trinket. And essentially going into the month of February, my intentions are every Monday that I've got some mail to share and open with you guys, we'll go live, we'll hang out, we'll smoke some weed, or at least I'll smoke some weed. And and if it turns out that no one gets values from these videos, if no one's willing to actually send me a postcard, then I'll take that as, this isn't that important of a show, and we'll maybe put this show on the back burner because I really do want to put a lot of time, attention, and effort into and intentions into the Maple Pill show. As well, myself and Peter will hopefully, coming into February or maybe March, we'll see how it all plays out. We'll also be launching a new podcast. There'll really be, my expectation are more long-form conversations where we're just kind of sharing some of our perspectives, some of the things we're learning and things of that nature. So again, I'm not sure if this show is going to become redundant or not. So that's why I'm pretty much leaving it up to you guys. If someone sends me a piece of mail, I'll take that as a sign that you guys do get value from this. Excellent. We'll continue on. If it turns out that you don't, no harm, no foul. I'll move on. And you'll still have lots of Matt McKeever in your life, so no worries. As well, if you've been missing my perspective on real estate investing, reminder, I am trying to once a week be back on the Canadian real estate channel. That was the old Matt McKeever real estate investing channel, where I'll just be kind of covering topical items, news stories, things of that nature. So again, if you're looking for more just real estate stuff in your life, you really definitely need to go back to the old Matt McKeever channel or the Canadian real estate channel, as we call it these days. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I've got a joint roll. It's been a while since I think we actually smoked a joint on the show. So I rolled a joint. I got a new auto roller. So I don't know if you guys all hand roll your J's or what you do, but essentially I've had this like auto roller since probably like right around the time I first started smoking weed more than like once a month. And that would probably be like a decade ago. It's finally completely, bit the dust where it's just literally just deteriorating. It's just like crumbling in my hand. So ordered a new one on Amazon, took it for a spin, looks pretty good. So I'm going to light it up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in the comment section. Be happy to chat with you guys about anything and everything. Otherwise, if you leave me to my own devices, we'll probably chat a little bit about NFTs, Twitter, other random shit that happens to catch my interest. But let's get started here. So again, hope you guys are having a good Monday. Hope you enjoyed the Maple Pill show. And those of you that are brand new to the channel, hopefully this doesn't put you off the Maple Pill show. Again, a reminder that when it comes to internet content, it's really just a choose your own adventure. You can choose to watch some of it. You can choose to watch all of it. You can choose to ignore all of it. It's really up to you. But things have been going well at the Citadel so far recently. So again, those of you that are interested in learning more about what I'm doing here, why Matt McKeever, actually, so here's a little tidbit that I don't think I've shared with many people yet. As of tomorrow, assuming the property closes, I will no longer be a landlord. I will have literally disposed of all of my real estate assets outside of the Citadel, assuming that deal closes tomorrow. So that's kind of crazy. That definitely feels like a bookend to a chapter of my life, a chapter I'm very proud of, a chapter I'm very happy I participated in. And for those of you just getting started in real estate investing, don't panic. I don't think it's the end of the world as we know it for real estate investors, although I really do think you need to start paying attention. You probably do start to need to start getting involved in more policy and regulation and making your voices heard to politicians. I think Kayla from Ontario Landlords Watch is doing a fabulous job of doing that. So really encourage you guys, join her Facebook group. Make sure that you're making your voice heard, especially on the local level. Far too often, we as real estate investors, I'm just as guilty as everyone else on this. We just kind of want to do our thing, keep our head down, don't rock the boat, go make a bunch of money, and move on with your life. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's important to understand that if you're just getting started in real estate investing, things may not always be the way they are today. When I originally was looking to get into real estate investing, right around the time, right before I bought my first property, within a year before me buying and acquiring my first rental property, the government changed a bunch of rules and policies. CMHC changed the way they insured mortgages. And that really, initially at least, reduced the capacity of myself and other real estate investors to be able to grow our portfolio. Now, where there's a will, there's always a way. So you can figure out ways, workarounds, new business models that will continue to allow you to scale your portfolio. But it is important you pay attention to what's going on in the world. And it's one of the reasons that I'm speaking out so much on politics these days is really not even just for me. At this point in time, Matt McKeever is going to be fine. I really don't have too many worries about him. But when I'm thinking about like my nieces, when I'm thinking about my nephew and the world they're going to grow up in, I'm not positive that they're going to be able to do the things I did. I'm not positive that they're going to be able to build up a real estate portfolio if they so choose. I'm not positive they'll be able to retire in their early 30s because of passive income. Because again, this loose monetary policy that we're seeing going on these days, these lockdowns, these mandates, all these new rules and regulations and red tape, the bureaucracy, there are consequences to every single government action and decision. And while, again, it can be very easy in the moment to think, this doesn't immediately impact me, so I'm going to ignore it, that's not to say there won't be consequences. And maybe the consequences don't hit you, but they are absolutely going to destroy an entire generation, in my opinion. And that's why I feel so compelled to speak out and speak up. And that's why I'm doing the Maple Pill Show. That's why every weekday at 7 p.m., I'll be going live, sharing with you guys 5 news stories. Hopefully you guys also share with me some news stories, your perspectives, your thoughts and opinions. But it's more important now than ever before that we try and create what game theory calls like common knowledge, right? It's not just enough for you to know what's going on is wrong. It's not just enough for me to know what's going on is wrong. We actually need to make others aware that, hey, I know that you know that what's going on is wrong. We all know what's going on is wrong right now. And we all aren't okay with that. Because for the vast majority of people, they don't want to be the first one to stand up, right? They don't want to be the first ones to put their head on the chopping block or risk any sort of social ostracization. That's probably a word. I think I stumbled through it. They don't want to risk any sort of consequences, right? And for those of us that have been focused on getting our financial house in order, for those of us that have reached financial independence, I truly believe that you have a duty to speak out. And the reason I believe you have a duty to speak out is because you wouldn't be able to have accomplished what you've accomplished up until this point if it wasn't for the ecosystem, the environment that existed. So if you don't have the agency, if you're not allowed to make individual decisions for yourself, you won't be able to separate yourself from others. You won't be able to choose to delay gratification or take on an immediate YOLO, I want all the gratification right now. It's delayed gratification that has allowed me to achieve what I've accomplished up until this point in time. Whether you consider that to be something worthwhile or not, doesn't matter. It's still that individual autonomy that allowed me and led me down this path. And that's my greatest concern, is that very soon everyone's just going to be a robot. Everyone's just going to be a copy of a copy of a copy. You know, that idea of like ticky-tack houses. Well, very soon there's going to be ticky-tack people, and we're all just going to be cut from the same cloth. I don't want to be a drone. I don't want to just be a faceless mass. I don't want to just be another number or another asset on the government's balance sheet. I literally do believe that Matt McKeever is an individual, capable of making individual decisions and capable of choosing what's right for himself rather than simply having it dictated from on high from random politicians. And as I shared in that one meme on today's Maple Pill Show, literally the 5 key ingredients to being a politician, and particularly making it up the pecking order when it comes to becoming a politician, seems to be being a psychopath, right? What were they all? I forget now. But being a psychopath, being a pedophile, being a thief, being a parasite, and there was one last ingredient there. But again, while I'm not sure if honest people will ever get into politics, it's important that we try to hold them as accountable and force them to be as honest as they're capable of being. Um, because these last 2 years of letting them run roughshod all over us, I'm over it. I'm done. I don't need it anymore in my life. I don't think you guys need it in your life anymore. It's wild when you see the comparisons where, they'll show a sports game here in Canada and there's no one in the crowd. And then they'll show a sports game in Ohio and it's sold out. And there's just, tons, thousands and thousands of people attending a live sports event. And here in Canada, we can't. And while I know COVID's really tricky and it seems to be able to come out at dark, and that's why, in Quebec, they need curfews. And apparently it knows to attack those of us in the Great White North, but it somehow doesn't, attack our U.S. brethren outside of certain states, right? It'll go after states like New York, but it somehow avoids things like Florida and Texas. It's wild when you really think about it. And honestly, it's just disingenuous at this point in time. It's insulting how stupid they think we all are. And I am very frustrated by it. And I think that you should be frustrated as well. Again, if you're not, then you probably should also still be speaking out and saying that I'm crazy and because what we need more of is honest discourse. That's the most important thing, right? Thoreau said, more than fame, more than fortune, give me truth. Or I'm paraphrasing to that extent. That's it. That's what I want is truth. That's what I want is that's how I can build a reality that I can understand, that I can navigate. If it's all just smoke and mirrors, if it's all just cloak and daggers, what are we doing? Like, why? And I don't think it needs to be that way. And I see someone here mentioning mass formation psychosis is a strong spell, it seems. Absolutely agree. In fact, before that buzzword was catching on, last summer or near the end of summer, I think the YouTube channel After School came out with a video on it. And myself and my entire team, we watched it on one of our Wednesday Night Impact episodes. So I'd really encourage those of you guys that maybe haven't watched it, maybe you've just heard the buzzword of mass formation. It's definitely worth looking at. So I'm just going to try and pull it up here quick on the old screen share. Yeah. So forget which one it was here, but anyways, all their videos are worth watching. That's weird. It came out with a bunch of mass formation psychosis. Help me out there, Otto. They must have called it something slightly different, but there is a great After School video on it. All right. Well, while we're looking for that, I'm going to relight this. Yeah, I'm not sure where that got to, but anyways, definitely worthwhile going down the rabbit hole and finding it. Man, they've done a lot of videos at this point in time. Anyways, pivoting here for a second. I won't be able to do it on this. Well, anyways, I won't be able to play the music for you guys, but if you haven't checked out the NFT project I'm a part of, one of the founding members. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you that this project's going to go to the moon or anything like that. Well, this screen share is a little cut off. But you can go to Project LB52. That's the website. Unlike pretty much any other NFT project you'll see these days, we actually have a lot of details. We're fully doxed as founders. We've got a pretty complex and robust roadmap, in my opinion. You can dive into even the terms and conditions and get a real understanding of exactly what the copyright rules are in regards to this project. But we're trying to do something really unique, something really different when it comes to NFTs and music. I see a huge opportunity on the horizon in regards to the NFT technology, the concept of it, as well as the creative music endeavors and things of that nature. As an influencer or micro influencer, whatever you want to call me, multiple times I toyed with the idea of like, oh, maybe we should get a theme song or something like that done. But, where do you go? Who do you hire? Well, we're really trying to create the opportunity for people to participate in the creative process when it comes to rap songs, hip hop, all that great stuff. And so Dan is the artist, and I'm just, kind of there for moral support / business support / helping give us the initial financial runway to take a run at it. But really encourage you guys to check it out. And if you have checked out the website but maybe didn't dive deep, all you need to do is hit this little, actually, I'm going to be in the way there. Let's do this. So all you need to do is hit this sound button here, and it'll actually pull up all the different beats that we own the Universal Master license or whatever to. And these are the actual beats that, one of these beats, if you participate in the project, you'll essentially get the rights to one of these beats and the ability to help influence Dan create a custom song on that beat. Then you'll essentially own the commercial rights to that new musical product. You could go take your song, put it on Spotify, put it on iTunes, sell it to Universal Records, whatever. Again, no guarantee that it plays out for you in a financially creative process, but I think it's a unique one of a type experience right now that's going on in both the NFT and music spaces. I know there'll be a lot of projects in the future that will come out. I imagine a lot of people will honestly copy what we did here, but we're still always going to be the ones that did it first. And there is a certain value, if you guys have been paying attention in NFTs, to being first or one of the first to launch these projects. So there's, in part a certain pedigree associated with it, as well as just a novelty to it. If you know anything about the collector mindset, a lot of collectors really, they like having the first whatever it was. So I encourage you guys, go check it out, dive deep into it. I'm very proud of this project, very proud of Dan and what he's been able to accomplish to this point. And again, we're just getting started in regards to everything to do with Project LB52. I have no doubt this is going to be a lifelong endeavor for Dan, and he's going to make sure that everyone that was a day one supporter, will walk away decades from now feeling like they were more than fairly compensated for their initial support. But all this being said, if you're a creative, if you're someone that's currently, trying to make it as a full-time artist, whether that's a musician, whether that's, physical art, whether that's even physical products, right? Like if you're a sculptor or something like that, you may think NFTs, how can this really apply to me? It's actually a much broader opportunity than most people realize. So for example, if you were a sculptor, what I would look at doing is, you probably have some sort of certificate or some sort of documentation of authenticity. I would look at essentially transferring that or bringing that into the digital world and having that authenticated now on the blockchain. Now, is that necessarily going to guarantee that you sell more? No, but there is a couple of really interesting things that occur from it. One, you can now have an easy way to track who currently possesses that right or that certificate. Now, again, in theory, someone could sell the certificate, but not the actual statue. But assuming that someone wants it as a collection, you can essentially kind of keep tabs as the creator on who was your day one supporters, because you'll be able to see what wallets, right, were initially participating in that. You'll be able to see who's the current hodler of that token as well. And I think there's something really unique about this that hasn't been possible up until this moment in time. So back in the day, maybe your buddy was starting a garage band, maybe you were a garage band, and maybe you got to the level where you started burning your own CDs and selling mixed CDs or something like that. Maybe you got to the level where you made a band shirt and you were selling t-shirts or hoodies or whatever sort of paraphernalia. Well, that's really cool, and it's awesome if you maybe went on to become more successful or grow. But outside of seeing someone wearing that dingy band t-shirt to a current show, how do you really know if someone was a day one supporter? Well, again, this sort of concept of having this information minted or documented on the blockchain would really creates the possibility that you'll be able to interact and interact with your supporters, not just in the moment of that initial transaction, but in theory, a decade from now, you could go back, look, do they still hold the same token in the same wallet? They do. Well, you can in theory just give them something. You could airdrop them something. I think that we'll see, a unique blend between what Kickstarter was, what Patreon is, what even just, social media and micro influencing was. And this is all going to kind of converge. And I think that NFTs, building communities through NFTs or blockchain or whatever. And again, it's very early on. Will it always be on Ethereum? I have no idea. Could it migrate to layer 2 on Bitcoin or something else like that? Absolutely. Could it migrate to some other chain? Absolutely. But I think where some people miss the plot here is thinking like, oh, well, what if NFTs or tokens start popping off on L2 or L3 of Bitcoin? Or what if someone comes out with better technology than Ethereum and they decide to put NFTs there? Well, for the pump and dumps, for the scammers, yeah, there's huge consequences there, and they're going to immediately migrate to the new chain and start pumping and dumping there. And that will definitely dry up a lot of liquidity. But for real communities, right, for true fandoms, I don't think it's going to matter. I think that what you'll see is like, for example, and this isn't a guarantee, but what I imagine down the road is like someone like Dan, let's say 10 years from now, Ethereum falls out of vogue for whatever reason. And it's all about this new chain. Well, I think with real fandoms, that influencer, that artist, that musician that knows you support them day one will probably just reach out to you through your current wallets that still held, the original token, and they gift you a new token on the new chain, right? And this is what I think we'll really see is this a deepening of the relationship between creator and audience. I think that we're going to see that relationship strengthen to a level that we just honestly, I think it's going to blow people's minds. If you followed some of those ideas of the first follower and things of that, I'm trying to think of like what books and videos I've seen about the subject matter, but the idea of the first follower, some people argue is just as or more important than the leader. And that's because like there's something about that initial movement, right? The first few people that support you, the first few people that help mold you in your community or your perspectives. But it also is a signal to everyone else, right? Trying to create like a common knowledge that like this is worth supporting, that someone else values this. So now it's okay that I go value it as well. Because, human beings being us, like we're very social beings. We're very nervous about our social hierarchies, very protective about where we are. And so no one wants to look like a fool or an idiot. No one wants to get scammed. So those first few followers are key. And I think that we're going to see, artists that come up in this NFT era are going to respect their audience and care for them to such a deeper level. And there's a greater opportunity for a real two-way conversation and for a two-way relationship. We're like, man, I can't believe, I essentially like sold you this thing day one and you were the supporter that Because again, while in theory you could do that with Kickstarter, right? Or Indiegogo or those different platforms where there was like higher tiers and you got certain access or bonuses for participating in those higher tiers. Most of the time from what I saw, and I participated in a handful of Kickstarters, mainly as like a board game nerd, but I never saw someone like continue the relationship for an extended period of time with their audience and like their paid audience, the first day supporters or the Kickstarter supporters and future projects, right? They might give you first right of refusal or something like that, but never really like building an entire community around it. Where with the idea of these tokens, and again, this in theory could be done without tokens, but I don't think that there was enough attention, awareness, opt-in or buy-in for it to spread to the greater collective consciousness. I think that we're going to get there. And because of that, I just see these opportunities for really deep communities, really deep relationships. And I'm sure we'll see some like DAOs or DAOs evolve in really unique ways as well, where it may be community first, it may creep up or grow around a creator or a handful of creators or a handful of influencers or thought leaders or whatever you want to phrase it as. But I really think that we're going to see a whole different type of relationship. I'm really excited for that. I think it's really cool. And if you want to participate in something like that, dive deeper into Project LB52. If for no other reason than to simply get an understanding of the lay of the land or what, one version of what's possible right now with NFTs can be. See a few people in the comments. Appreciate those of you jumping in. We got Daniel. We got Henry. Hungarian Experiment. We got My Healing Journey. Appreciate everyone's support. Z Tribute. Yeah, we were talking about mass information. Kevin Dias. Hey, Matt, longtime follower. Figured this is a good opportunity to say hi. Since we're on Project LB52, got my monkey in December. That's awesome, Kevin. Dan's been talking to me a little bit about behind the scenes and working on your project and stuff, and I know he's really amped. I think he was even going into the recording studio. It was either like this weekend or last week or something, working on it. So that's awesome. Really looking forward to seeing what you create, and really do appreciate you supporting and promoting Project LB52. And I imagine what I just discussed in the live stream, if you were listening, probably really hit home because, again, I just see really interesting opportunities. None of this is like guarantees, but, just imagine that you were like the first person at, Eminem or Kendrick Lamar's first show, or, the first paid show, right? Like I can remember going and seeing some bands that went on to become much bigger names than they are. And they were at that dive bar where you paid a toonie cover. And then it was like $2 a beer or $3 a beer. And, while it was cool to be there, at the beginning, see those like where it's like, oh, wow, there's like a couple dozen of us total that are here for this live show. And again, that's fun and cool. And there's a novelty in and of itself. Imagine if you could kind of keep that ticket stub forever, but there was a way for the band to easily find or track down or communicate with the individual hodler of that ticket stub, right? They could be like, hey, if you ever came out to one of our Toonie shows, we're throwing a free event for you, right? Whether it's a IRL in real life concert, or whether it's maybe just a virtual concert. Or, hey, we'll do a shout out like on like the Cameo type programs, right? Where they're like, hey, yo, Matt, hey, Kevin, really appreciate your day one support. And again, just want to let you know how much it meant to us that you bought this token, or that you went to our first Toonie show event, or whatever the case may be. Again, there's just something really fun about that. But also, let's say that you were, you came along later. Maybe you just didn't have a chance to become a fan of this person day one, but now they're at 10,000 or 100,000 or 1 million fans. Maybe they're at 1 million true fans at this point in time. And you're like, oh, there's no way I could ever get on their radar. How could I ever stand out? Well, that's where a secondary market where people could buy that ticket stub and essentially then, kind of get grouped in with the group that originally supported them. That's really interesting because for someone that maybe just grew out of the fandom, maybe you're no longer, as hardcore a fan as you were. Maybe you just want to, reap some financial reward by being a supporter of this person day one. That's where a secondary market where you could sell your Toonie ticket from the day one concert. And now, like let's say it was like Eminem or Kendrick or whoever. I don't even know like who's a top star these days. I just know who I like as rappers. But like, let's say it's probably not Justin Bieber. But anyways, someone massive. Well, you could go and buy it. And like that'd probably be worth thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars, depending upon the type of access and rewards and history of rewarding their audience they'd had up until this point in time. But at the same time, bad actors, it'll show through. Like you'll literally just see people that are going to burn and churn their audience, but people are going to realize like, oh, wait, like I bought that special commemorative NFT, that thing, and they never did shit for us, or they only did what they promised and they didn't go above and beyond. I think this is where really the creator can service and reward their supporters to an extent that just never was practical up until this moment in time. And again, that just makes me so excited. Same with the idea of like, if you're an author, if you're trying to create a special community, a club, if you've got, a niche hobby, really just about anything, I think, can be approached through this lens. And now, again, did we technically need the blockchain or anything like that to do it? No. But what it allows us to do is have a very easy secondary market. There's a lot of technology and growth and innovation built around this. So again, there's just even more awareness in that, cross-pollination of ideas, that ideas having sex and stuff like that, that's really going to allow for a rapid evolution of this sort of ecosystem, this environment, this type of fandom. And obviously, for the couple of you watching this, I appreciate it. But I hope you enjoy this kind of random ranting because, at least in my mind, this is really innovative, interesting stuff. And I really do believe this is crazy alpha. I legit have drank all my own Kool-Aid. I think it doesn't matter whether Ethereum goes to $0 or if Bitcoin goes to $1 million. this concept is going to continue to evolve and exist somewhere. Maybe it's on the Ethereum blockchain, maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter because I'm in it for the community. I'm in it for the idea of having, easy ways to understand who's bought in rather than simply, having to trust or cross your fingers that this random anon, this random Twitter, this random Reddit account is maybe someone that cares, right? Or this random commenter or whatever it is. It really allows people to have a financial stake and down the road, potentially a financial incentive or a financial reward for participating in the growth and the building of that community. So again, I don't see it as a secret way to get rich or to, pump your bags or things like that. I really see it as a unique moment in time where this is just beginning. It's in its infancy. And so because of that, I think there's probably outsized risks and outsized rewards. And if you can get good at understanding who's authentic, who's a real person, who really cares about their community, who's going to go above and beyond to make sure they do right by their day one supporters, boom. That's going to be the best investment you could ever make. Because also, if you actually just care about that person, about their art, about whatever creative endeavor or unique endeavor they're taking on, and you want to be a participant, this is truly where it's just like win, 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 win. It's just like pure upside, in my opinion. Because if nothing else, you had your ticket of admission. You got to participate. You got to be a member of this club, a hodler of this token, or experience this whatever. But then beyond that, there's the outside chance that if this person really does want to do right by their community, that you can reap all sorts of rewards, whether that's just like intangible, such as getting future experiences or future exposure or access, or alternatively, it could literally be financial where others want to participate and they're willing to pay significantly on secondary markets. So yeah, that's why I'm so bullish on this stuff. And we're 30 minutes in and we barely got started on this joint. But I think I'm going to wrap up here, guys. Really appreciate the handful of you watching this. Hope you got value from it. Again, reminder, the whole idea here is I'll go live every Monday night, hang out with you guys at 8:20 Eastern Standard Time. And all I'm asking is that you send me a random postcard. The mailing address is right in the video description down below. I don't know what postage is, but it's still got to be $1 or less. So still less than cost of Timmy's. And you guys can kind of ask me anything on this, at least until it gets unruly or until people only ask real estate questions. Then I might just ignore the occasional one. But love chatting about random things. So appreciate those of you listening to me go on and on about NFTs. I hope you got some value from it. And if you end up deciding to start your own NFT project, if you end up deciding to try and, crowdsource, crowdfund, something to that extent on the blockchain, in the NFT ecosystem, or by launching a community, keep me in the loop. No promises, but I'm constantly curious to hear how people are going to innovate in this space. And if that's you, I'd love to connect. So again, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.